go. Hey, hey,
We are live. Happy Friday, everyone.
we are absolutely live.
We're excited. This is we've been on a lot of lives, but it's been other people's shows. So this is our first time producing our own show. So welcome everybody on this
Ab-
lovely Friday morning.
Absolutely. We got Kingsbury Crafts. We got Gail from Bremerton, Washington. Hello, Gail. We got, oh my gosh, we got so many people showing us some love here this morning. So we
What's
got
up,
Nick
Nick from
Wood.
Graphic Source?
That's
Welcome,
right, Nick
Nick.
Wood. He, just a real quick shout out to Nick. He and Graphic Source are just an amazing group of talented and really busy digitizers and color separators and all the things you need to prep for production. And we're just so glad that Nick's joining us. And then we have, oh my gosh, we got Jab. Gosh, man, those guys are out there. I'm sure you guys are just slaying it from all the way from Dallas, Texas. Yeah, College Station. That's right. That's right. And then Justin's joining us too. Justin, hope everything's well with you. Oh my gosh,
Justin.
Yeah, and then we got Joe over here saying hi. Thanks for joining us this morning. We're really excited to be here. Dudes of Thread, obviously joining me here is my very talented counterpart, CEO, Mr. Jeremy Picker of Amber Creative. And it is a beautiful Friday. Jeremy, I hear you guys got some snow over there in Denver, Colorado.
Yeah, just a little bit. I think we're looking at close to 30 inches here in the foothills. So today it's so bright, the sun's finally out, and I know Mr. Joe Kramar, who's from Phoenix, Arizona, is probably enjoying the sunlight. Master digitizer, R&D specialist, and working on operations here at Amber to help us bring our visions to life.
Absolutely, yes. Thank you so much. And so if you've just joined us, we're the Dudes of Thread. We're going to talk about anything and everything: embroidery, applique, specialty, multimedia also. So we don't leave out the screen printers 100%. So we're going to talk about a lot of all that. And if you're just joining us, this is what the show's all about: is what we can do to elevate our thinking for decorating apparel. If you're trying to push your company, your projects, your overall brand image to the next level, this is the channel that is dedicated to that.
Oh yeah, and welcome Kevin from North Carolina. He's been commenting on our YouTube channel, so we appreciate you, Kevin. Welcome to our first live. And if you're on LinkedIn or YouTube, where else do we have this? We have this on Instagram.
Yeah, I think
I'm trying to do it on Twitter, but I don't even know if it's running. So
yeah, well,
learning
we'll know after this.
Yeah,
we'll know after
welcome
this.
Angelo, our art director. A lot of the design work you'll see is from Angelo. And yeah, we are super nerds with all things merchandise. So if you could only see our private messages on Instagram of all the beautiful things that we're sharing and talking about, yeah, we are nerding out.
Awesome. What do we have this morning here to share with the fine folks? Let's see here. I've got...
while you're pulling that up, Joe, I heard that you have a new addition to your family. Congratulations.
I do. I got a single head embroidery machine, and it was a very difficult purchase. Not so much just because the high dollar part of it, but just I gotta justify it. What can I say? I have to make sure that it was something that was going to make sense. And it's tough especially with all the allies that we do have in the industry. We want to send developments and try some different things ourselves. And I went ahead and pushed, especially, sorry, there's a lot to unpack here. If it weren't for Jeremy, I probably wouldn't be doing this at all. I just, he's really been giving me an amazing support and a good platform and a good jumping off point to be able to actually teach, with this knowledge. And I just felt like I couldn't really do it properly without actually having a machine. So So I got one. I got a single head, and then I will do a quick little shout out to the guys over at. I know I'm gonna get chastised by some, but I ended up going with one of those lesser expensive buy machines, because I don't need to have, there's no sense of me having a $20,000 single head embroidery machine for not doing production. It just makes no sense. So I went with a buy. They saw my videos, and then they ended up upgrading me to like the best industrial machine they had. And it all sounds great until you're unloading a 600-pound single head industrial machine, and then it doesn't go through the doorway that you want it to go through. And so I literally, like yesterday, I was like with the hammer, I was, doing demo so I can make the door bigger and push this behemoth through, because it's like, you measure everything ahead of time, and it all looks good. And then, of course, you have, once the machine gets on the stand, things are offset just enough to where you're like, I got to take the door out. This was not, didn't work out as planned. So, but I will say this, I did throw a 10,000 stitch file on it last night, and I didn't even hoop fabric, which is like a cardinal sin in its own way. I just hooped up a couple pieces of cutaway just to see what it would do. And it went through it, flawlessly, not a single thread break. And it was amazing. So, so we're going to see more of that. I'm going to be featuring a lot more of the actual, baking of the goods, as we're doing it. So, because I want you guys to actually see this stuff run, so that I can, put my money where my mouth is with all these techniques and all this learning, that we have to share. So, thank you all for everybody's support in this whole thing. Couldn't have done it without you.
And just so you all know, in the past, Joe's worked in embroidery shops, so he had all of that ready available. But here at Amber, we outsource all production, and a lot of times, especially virtually, because we're using embroidery shops all over the country, we are trying to get our vision across and not being there in person. So by Joe having that single head, we're going to be able to do some R&D. He can dial in the file. We can get samples of the actual garment, and then we can send it to our embroidery shop to speed up production and have less back and forth, because we are very picky. Well, we're very particular, and rightfully so, because we have the whole vision, because we're not just designing for apparel or producing apparel. We envision it, and we know what the outcome should be. So we're super excited to be working on the sewing threads. Joe just got some Burmalana yesterday. So we're gonna be doing designs and creative on the show, and then sharing it with you and of actual sew out. So we're very stoked about that.
Yes, exactly. We're absolutely stoked about all of that. Just real quick, I want to I got some comments over here. I've got Kevin loves a single head. Thanks so much, Kevin. And of course, Justin over here is curious as to where his invite is. Hey, buddy, come over and help me get this thing through this door. Help me get this door installed. So.
Free pizza and beer.
Exactly. I'll provide all of that. That would be great. So, sorry. Go ahead. So we've got, Nick. Yeah, can't wait to see you. Hey, Nick, we're gonna definitely make magic with this thing for sure. So, so we've got a really cool Friday show planned here for you. Looks like I was going to share a couple things really quick.
Go for it. And then I'll share. I have something else I wanted to share. A recent mood board I put together for a client project.
Oh yeah, for sure. So there was actually I was just kind of curious about some of the biggest like stitch files, because as you guys know, we do some stitch file guessing here on the show, and I found that the world's there's a little fun fact here with embroidery. The world's most expensive embroidered piece is a tablecloth made for the Shah of Iran in the 17th century. So we're assuming that it's hand embroidered, of course. Valued at over 33 million. And that embroidery was once considered a valuable skill, right, for women, and the proficiency in it elevates your social status in their culture. kind of like it does with us,
Yeah,
right?
right. With
Yeah,
apparel, like, I mean, there's a reason Ralph Lauren's charging very high amounts for some of it was
right.
because of that social
It,
appeal.
that's exactly right. And I mean, if you really think about it, I mean, embroidery, tapestries, and just all those things have been a big part of, venerability or royalty or some sort of aristocracy, in our history. So that's kind of fun to play, play an integral part, especially in what we're doing here today. So I'm sorry, you said you had a mood board.
Yeah, I was just going to share a little mood board that I put together. If you haven't watched any of our content before, we always love to start with ideation. We do our market research, we add things to Pinterest. And what we're really trying to get from it is not copy, while we have, just try to mimic some looks.
Yeah.
We want to be inspired, from what's already been done in the past. And so trying to get our vision, especially to Angelo here on the podcast when he's designing for embroidery and applique, we want to give him a little bit of a guide on where to go to. So I guess I'm going to have to share my screen on this because it's only let me do PDFs, I guess.
Okay.
Here we go. Uploading. Thanks, Kevin. Glad it's coming through. So just a little bit of some inspiration. We love to do multimedia, being screen print plus embroidery or applique. And so this was just one of my findings. We were putting together some felt and twill, but what I really loved about the screen print pieces, it's just super subtle. It looks like that there's sun bleaching from the elimination of the applique. So on the number 3, you can see where it looks like the applique has been ripped and then it's unveiling, where it was covered by the sun. All of this is not original. These are all authentically reproduced. And so when we're building the line, you can also see on that 23 on Super Dry, they kind of did the same thing. They printed like a tonal dark underneath the applique, and then where it was ripped apart or distressed, it's revealing that. And it's super subtle. I know it adds cost and probably time to a project, but it's those little details that you can have a design that you just throw a texture on that you call vintage, but it's really just a Photoshop texture and printed in the normal way. Or you can do it like this to where it's super authentic, that you picked it up at the thrift store and grandma's mended it and it's been washed 100 times. And I just pulled these together to, here's some screen print that I love. If there's this one on the far right where it says craft, and it's just a one color distressed screen print with a little bit of an outline of what stitch would you call that, Joe?
It looks like a slanted bean, at least what I remember of it. Yeah, it looks like a slanted bean stitch, where it's just, just the segments just kind of have a little slant to it, and they kind of stagger as they run down a line, like if you were to look at it like a motif, stitch. But that's what I think it is, because it's not really a whip, and it's not really a
but it has character. It's,
it has a lot.
It's a little bit unique, and the nice thing is they didn't set the registration to align perfectly. You can see kind of on the left of it, you can see the screen print on the outside. I love that. I'm okay with that because it brings so much character and it just looks old. And some of the other ones just having felt as a base and then twill and canvas on top to give that fray to make it look like it's eroding. So this is this little mood board. Again, it just starts our conversation as we're trying to adapt something for the client and to give Angelo some creative spark to start creating a fresh design. And then once Angelo does that design, then we all get together and me and Joe talk about, how can we make it look like this? So Joe will start throwing out some stitches and we'll, we'll adjust the design and do we want the zigzag? Do we want the bean stitch? That one on the top right is really cool. It's just another one color screen print with just some outlines of, some little bit of, I guess it's satin embroidery that's a little loose.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is how we always start our development projects. And it's hard sometimes when the customer is trying to dictate everything. But when they do give you the freedom to say, hey, here's my design, here's my logo,
Yeah.
come up with some cool ideas, and we start here every time. So
Yeah,
I love
that.
process.
Yep, exactly. And in case anybody's watching this, I mean, if you're a distributor, you're a design firm, or you're the actual production facility, this is going to be relevant for all three scenarios, and even more. But this trying to register embroidery with screen print is not impossible. You just have to go about it a different way. And especially like when that craft example and the RD, I don't know, sorry, I'm not sure what the logo is, but when you're trying to line it up, you basically need to make what's called a hooping template. And if you've never made one, it's actually really easy. And what you want to do is whatever your digitizing program is, it's always good to take the let's say it's some sort of a raster image, whether it's a TIFF or JPEG or something. You want to put that into your digitizing program and get at scale. It's very important that it is the exact scale that it's supposed to be. And then what you want to do is get your stitches to position just right over the top of that scale. And then what I do is I print out the run sheet and in a piece of paper. And if it's a large graphic, then you're going to be tiling, your run sheet back together. And then what you do is I do a little spray adhesive on the back of the paper, and I just adhere it right to a piece of embroidery puff, like craft foam. And what you do is from there, with an X-Acto knife or scissors, you go ahead and cut out enough of the design so you can see reference points. And then once you're all done with that, you go ahead and cut it to the inside of your hoop. And that way, when you go to hoop a shirt that's been printed, you can see through the foam, and then you can see the image just behind it, and it will actually allow you to get it pretty darn close to where it's got to go each time. It takes a little bit longer to hoop, but it's a lot more accurate, once you get moving. But it really helps out. Yeah,
that was a good nugget for today. Just
yeah,
for the alignment. Yeah. I mean, I would never know that because I don't do the production. So those things are. And the more I learn about it as, more of the idea guy and creative guy, it allows us to be able to develop something that's going to fit that and make it easier for mass production. Joe can do the best sample possible, but if production can't duplicate it at speed,
that's right,
where everyone can make money, then it's just a cool portfolio piece that we can't do for a volume run.
Right. That's exactly right. So we've had a lot of success with that technique. And there's folks out there too that are like, hey, we're using lasers and we have ways of, using a projector that shoots from overhead. Those are all great ways. It's just that's a great start, to do it with a small template. If you got a laser machine, then you can laser it out and not cut it by hand, which is, even better. So awesome. fun little deals there.
Do you want to show them your third camera or second camera?
Oh yeah, so
you have set up.
Let me bring this to the stage here. I've got another piece here in my. Let's see, we can expand this out here. I can go like this. Yeah. So this is, gosh. We got rayon felt up here. I don't know if you guys are familiar with rayon, but rayon is a alternative word for alternative marketing word, I should say, for bamboo, but it's basically bamboo. We've got a 5-pass bean stitch holding these letters down instead of 3 passes, as well as 5-pass holding the twill down. The twill is over the top of a piece of a navy felt, and man, is that twill stringy. That is some vintage Abercrombie right there.
Yeah, so we've been hanging out on eBay, adding to our collection.
Yeah.
I always talked about Abercrombie for the last probably 15 years about their applique and embroidery. And I'm like, I don't even own a piece. You know, I couldn't afford it back in the early 2000s on a college salary, which was zero. So
Yeah, exactly.
now that I'm a big boy and make my own money, I've been spending all my allowance on eBay. And if I used to sell on eBay 20 years ago, and I'm like, if I would have kept through with it and started selling all these old Abercrombie and Ralph Lauren Hollister rule pieces, man, I would be able to buy a embroidery machine. But it's just been so cool to actually buy all these pieces and have them in front, because I don't see anyone doing it anymore. Superdry does it on a little bit of a scale. Ralph Lauren does it, but not to the amount that Abercrombie and Hollister and American Eagle and Aeropostale used to do. So it's just been really good because no one's doing it. There's a plethora of garments out there that we can use, not only for our clients, but we'll be starting our own clothing brand soon, and we will be taking a lot of this inspiration to bring it back. Right. You know, everything's coming back around, and we want to bring applique and specialty distressed embroidery back to the world.
Exactly. And if you're ever trying to figure out like what to do or how to find this material, rayon felt's definitely going to be a little bit harder to find these days, and it's going to be harder to find in colors. You're usually going to find it in some sort of a natural, either a white or a natural like undyed color. But if it works for your branding, that's, you know, like as it did in this scenario, you know, that's great. The trick here when you're hunting for applique material is that you're trying to find as much organic fiber as you can. It's not that synthetic is bad. It's just that synthetic, when typically cut under a laser environment, may give you undesired results, especially with, let's say with acrylic felt. You may end up producing crusty edges or edges that just don't feel soft. And, you know, a lot of the stuff, the appliques that were cut with Abercrombie, despite domestic development, a lot of them are not cut with lasers. They're actually cut with, you know, clicker machines and dyes. And then when you cut them that way, there's always pros and cons to each scenario, where laser is going to be more accurate per set of cut. But if you veer off the organic fiber, you know, trail, then what's going to happen is you're going to end up with, you know, again, the crusty edges, but it's more accurate. If you're going to go with more of a fabric, let's say it could be synthetic, but you ended up cutting it with a clicker with dyes, actually had dyes made. The challenge is that usually the factory will try to layer several layers together before they, you know, hit that button. And what actually happens is the fabric, there's a little bit of fabric displacement under that much amount of pressure, and you may get some random shapes that you didn't really think shapes are gonna come out like as perfect as they could had you used less layers. We ran into that with Hollister all the time because the factories used, you know, they kind of went rogue and they put like way too many pieces of, you know, felt, and they try to push it all at once, and as the blade comes down, it actually kind of wanders, you know, down the fabric. So
and just to kind of go on what you were talking about, as if you can answer this a little more, I'm going to do some show and tell, so I will be right back, and then if you want to share,
you got it,
a little bit more there.
Absolutely. So Angela asks a great question here about burning felt. So to shift away from the clicker, you know, dye method, you know, your more common method is going to be laser cutting. If you're laser cutting, there's several things you got to keep in mind. And one is you want to do more passes and less power. You don't want to blast that particular scenario too hard. It will actually cause, you know, some problems. If you do blast it really, really hard, the those problems are going to be crusty edges. Those problems are going to be, you'll actually shrink. Felt will shrink on you. Rayon, in this case, doesn't do it so bad. It behaves a little bit better. Cotton twills, again, sticking with organic fibers. Cotton twills are amazing. They'll take all kinds of abuse. You can do less passes, hard power. You can do more passes with less power. A twill can pretty much deal with just about anything you throw at it. The only thing I would advise with any of this is the magic that brings a lot of this look to the surface is actually washing the garment. And I know that's not something that distributors are comfortable with, that your average factory out there is comfortable with, but I promise you the best look that you can have is going to happen after the wash. So I don't know, I've been pushing that the last few episodes, but it is unfortunate that that's specifically the part of the formula that will work. So basically, to circle back around and concisely answer Angelo's question is, when you're talking about burning, felt, you're talking about trying to keep that from happening. It's really just more passes and less power. So
just a little bit of a longer production time, right? You're saving on the front end to make it better on the back.
Yeah. It's definitely it's a wiser way to do it. It's kind of like saying, would you run your embroidery machine at 1,000 RPM just because you can? Well, some stitch files that will probably work for, and some stitch files it won't work for. So you just have to take it all into account. But
nice.
looks like Jeremy's got something to show us here. Why don't we put that front stage? You ready?
Yeah, man.
All right, here we go.
So we're experimenting with different cameras to make it a little more engaging and exciting. And I know I love sharing about the vintage style and worn in, but you can achieve any style with applique if it's the right fabric, if it's the right stitches, if it's the right garment. So I wanted to share this Ralph Lauren piece I got, and it's super subtle. It's using poly twill, and there's some zigzag stitches tacking everything down, but it gives a more sporty streetwear look than your preppy vintage Ivy look. And so I wanted to, even though we talk about vintage a lot, I want everyone to know that they can achieve whatever style their client wants. It just depends on the types of fabrics and stitches that you bring in and the garment. So you don't want to have maybe like this tech forward sporty garment with kind of the worn in. It just doesn't fit right. You want something a little cleaner, a little, using the poly twill or some faux sport, material that will end up showing. But I don't know if it's coming through okay, but
definitely right there, it's coming through great. Can you share what you perceive to be, is more of like a satin fabric, or do you think it's like a poly twill or something?
It seems like a super soft poly twill. It's knitted, it's not knit. It's actually, it looks more like a canvas type of weave or creation than a twill, but it's showing up a lot more here in the image and the lighting versus real life. And in real life, it's super subtle. But it's just a great example of using the right fabrics, for the garment. And then I just wanted to show one more piece that I've been trying to get on eBay for years. This is a Ralph Lauren, just outdoorsy, but like a Henley, and it has awesome quilted elbows. But I just love, me, I love the patchwork, all the different little unique patches that they put on it. It has really cool stitches. Some of them are woven, some of them are poplin. There's some felt, some just, it looks like hand embroidery, but sorry,
this is great. That's looking great. So would you say that, because I feel like recently it's like you're buying garments that like have the most patches on them. I mean, this is great.
Yes, the more patches, the better. I mean,
Absolutely.
there's some brands that just do a great job, and I love this little American flag here.
Yeah, look
There's
at that. That
literally
is
layer on layer
torn
of
up.
the red and white, and then just all these little, there's like a zigzag stitch, and the tack down is just so Americana,
Right.
so soft, and it's just, it's just a touch on the sleeve. And so that's like, these pieces I buy not only because I want to wear them and it kind of fits my current style,
Yeah.
but I just can show, I can do this research that Ralph Lauren's already done, and we can try to replicate it. Not exactly, but just obviously all of his garments are cut and sew. I mean, check this little
that
clasp. It's metal.
That is awesome.
And it just clips, and just every little detail is so amazing. It has this
I feel like if we showed that to our like patches and trim gal, it would just blow her mind.
Oh yeah, she's like, I want that, and
she's
we're like, well, what's your budget?
She'll be saying, we've only heard rumors of those things from our grandparents.
Yep. So
yes,
I wanted to share that piece. Cool. This is part of my new collection. And then just lastly, I know I talked about when Picker Loves Prep that I go to a lot of just physical books. Where can I go look for new and fresh ideas that the competition isn't looking at? And while we all have access to Pinterest, all of these books that I grab are curated for specific styles. So instead of me having to go to Pinterest and manually build all my boards, when I buy these books, someone else has curated a collection for me. So this is a book I recommend everyone get. It's The History of Champion. And obviously we know that they've come back, with force the last few years. But their origin of where they started is just amazing. And you can get so many, let's see if we're gonna do that. There we go. Yep. You can get just so much inspiration from all their sweatshirts. They have the reverse weave. It shows all their little woven labels. And it's just a good little collection to learn about, applique and screen print, and a lot of these layout styles, even if they're screen print, are very similar. So being able to, look at one of these and take, they arched this lettering, or, they put something on the left chest. But this is such a great book for, not only vintage, but, sport and prep. And then just the different styles. It's just full of like their old tech packs, their patents that they had for the reverse weave and the V-notch. Up front, they have the crotch gusset, which allowed for people to actually play sports in these Champion. And then it goes through the years of old basketball jerseys and soccer. There's just so much cool things, and you can get it on Amazon. But it gives some good preppy, collegiate vibes. But also decoration. There's all kinds of woven labels and heat transfers and screen print. And then just it goes through the collectibles like Naughty by Nature. They were rocking the Champion back in the 1990s.
Right.
But yeah, so Champion Tags and Threads Guide to Vintage.
Very nice.
And if you're a hunter in thrift stores, this will tell you what to look for. So
yeah, and there's some gold right there. I mean, you've got an awesome opportunity here to, especially like with the layouts. I really like what you said about the layouts, Jeremy, because I think that oftentimes, we end up dealing with, let's say we need some inspiration, or we need something that will help us to create a new design. And I know a lot of us are going to say things like, hey, we're not an artist, or this is just not my bag. But if you can focus on the layout, especially like in a book like that, where there's, a lot of these old like sign maker talent and hand painted sign talent, all has to do with being able to create, fit the letters, fit the shapes, try these visual aesthetic looks. And again, if you're not an artist, that doesn't really matter. It's just the fact that you have access to some inspiration that you can share either with your factory or share with an artist, share with your digitizer and say, this is really what I want. This is how I want the look to go, in order for us to make all this happen. So the really, really big part, I think, of pushing through the design process is knowing, I want the letters to arch, or I want them to be straight. I want the pillbox, or I want the flags, or I want, some various things that will, tie that design in together. Once you have that figured out, and you're like, you know what, adding a piece of applique here or there is really going to help make that pop and add dimension. And of course, you get it out of the wash, and you really see just how much fluffy dimension you can really achieve. It's just, it's its own reward.
Yeah. So hopefully you enjoyed that segment. Hopefully it came across. I know I've been having weather issues, so hopefully the video came through. But
I think it was good. It looked good on my end, so I think it'll be just fine. Yeah. So
yeah, we just want to share how we're inspired, and hopefully you can be inspired along with us, and we can again talk collectively on how they might have achieved this, or how can we achieve it for our customers. And it really pumps us up because we have only so many clients, and those 40 to 100 clients, they get our love of merchandise, but we want thousands of people to make better merchandise. So that's our whole goal with all this, and trying to share what we've gathered up over the last 2 decades.
Exactly. Taking it real quick, I want to mention a couple of comments. I mean, Angelo reached out just a bit ago, and he was like, that RL piece is sweet. That RL piece is really nice. I've always loved tone on tone. It always works. It's really just, I mean, even like when you just do like I don't know if you guys have ever in the screen print land ever done like let's see, you had a 6210 that was at that dark charcoal kind of color.
Yeah.
And then you print specifically a water-based black over the top of it, and it just, because water-based black just looks so much, richer and darker than plastisol, and it just looks so nice. And that's kind of what it reminds me of, is we're basically doing black on black, but one of them you change the texture on, and it just really pops, but still subtle, which is really cool. And then of course, Nick mentioned those patches are dope. Dude, that one garment you got with all those patches is just absolutely,
it's bonkers. And people are asking for crazy amounts of money. I was just lucky to score for a fair market price.
Exactly.
Not overpaying for it.
And then Jabs, Billy's over here asking about Billy and John here asking about, they're talking about how beautiful that flag is. Is that a would you say it's screen printed? Does it look screen printed, or does it look like block printed? Or
no, it's all
I was just curious what it was made of.
So the blue is printed, but it's in reverse. So they printed the blue, the navy on the natural twill.
Got it. Okay.
And just punched it out in negative, but everything else is embroidery.
Got it. So that's the only part that's printed. Everything else was embroidered, and they just destroyed the embroidery.
I mean, crazy. So nice. I don't think people like just that one patch, how much R&D, not R&D, but just development.
Yeah, how much engineering
creating that to make it look like it's been there and it's supposed to go there. It just blends so well with the garment. But I would love to be in their creative room when they're developing these pieces.
And making something like that too, if you've got a laser cut machine, making something like that too is still within your grasps.
Yeah,
just you do a stencil, like you go ahead and print, and we used to do it all the time. We would print panels, screen print panels, and then what you would do with those panels is you would take them and make a laser cut template and put the template over the top, so about where it's going to cut, and you tell the machine to go in and snaps it out. Take that's your applique now, and then build a file around it so it can do its job. So it's not terrible. But I get Kevin over here talking about the layouts. Like if you're looking for inspiration, layouts are great because all you really have to do is find that, nice piece of inspiration, and then just fill in the blanks instead of, whatever that says. And in this case, it says Ralph Lauren. We just want to change that out to say something else, and you can, push that in that way. So, oh yeah. So Jab wants, if we're gonna post the books. In fact, we should probably, when we wrap this, we'll put in the comments, right? The sources. Okay, perfect. So, awesome.
Yeah, we'll set up Amazon someday.
Yep. Yeah.
Affiliate. Yeah. Anyone have any questions or any topic that you want us to discuss or bring up or chat about? Tell us what brands that inspire you. If you have a project for customer, are they open up to new ideas, or are they just saying, I want embroidery? Not again, embroidery is what's all the bills, the fun and creative, while it can grow, it's really the portfolio pieces, than our left chest. But left chest embroidery, corporate embroidery is bread and butter for everyone, I think.
Yes, exactly. So let's go ahead and reveal. We've actually waited for several episodes here just because we haven't had enough people guess, but at least enough, because some people are guessing way under, some are guessing way over, and then we have like this tiny little cluster of people that have guessed somewhere close, and so we wanted to give everybody a fair shot. But we're gonna do our little stitch count contestant reveal here. It's the first time we've done it live, so hopefully this will go a little smoother than not. But let's reveal that real quick here. Give you just a second here. So
a lot of stitches, man.
That is so many stitches. So we hunted down, actually Jeremy hunted down the actual run sheet for this, which is really, really cool. And we went through, it's a little challenging, right, to go to like all the different social media places that we posted this and just go hunt down, make a list of everything. But so here we go. The reveal is, we've got Ramona McKee, who guessed 88,000. She was the closest one, since the correct answer is 77,882. So congratulations, Ramona.
Coming at you,
Ramona. So,
and Jab, by the way, we didn't forget about you. We're a little slow at shipping things out, but we will get you your merch from Stitch Count Contessa 1 out in the mail. So I know you gave your address to Joe, and I will do it next week, I promise.
Yes, we keep adding things to it, so it's not enough. We got to put more stuff.
Yeah.
So
congrats, Ramona. Thank you all. We're trying to figure out what little segments, kind of work. And as we are building our audience, we might reintroduce some other things over time. But we have a segment called Level Up Your Logo. And thank you for Jab and DJ Kevin for submitting. In a future episode, we're going to look at what you submitted, whether it's client artwork or your own, that we can help you come up with 2 to 3 ideas to take that garment or design and elevate it, whether it's through unique stitches or changing it to sewing thread or adding an applique or a cool screen print kind of multimedia piece. We want to help our community come up with those ideas. I think one of our skill sets here at Amber is we are able to ideate on demand. We're filling our minds with so much market research that no matter what demographic, no matter what project, no matter what audience, we're able to come up with these cool ideas. And again, cool, even if the customer doesn't go with cool, you showing them what they could have from what they have they might never go with that, but it builds credibility with them that you know how to create these retail pieces. You know, if they wanted on a special occasion to up their merchandise, that you can do it for them, versus, you know, when you're going just bare bones to where they're comparing prices to the other local embroiderer. You want to show them that you're different, that you have more to offer, even if they don't go with that due to budget, or, you know, they just could be a boring company that they don't want anything like that. But again, it builds credibility for your clientele, and it's some good eye candy that you can use for other customers to try to elevate their merch.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, a lot of our customers, they don't know what they don't know. You know, for example, this particular SXM sample that we've shown, like, you know, a million times. I think the reason why we show it so often, and I know they've rebranded since then, but the reason why we show this is because, you know, it's a relatively simple logo, and it would be accurate for me to say it's boring, because simple logos, especially with branding, are some of the best, you know, memory burns that you'll have. But
Yep.
for this particular piece, I think the reason why we want to show it is because otherwise, when you look at this logo, there's really not much going on, just standard vector, and that's it. So to you know, help to solidify, you know, Jeremy's point is, you know, you've got to educate your customer as to why this is important, without them actually being able to touch and feel this, or at least see a dimensional photo of this. They'll never appreciate all the time, you know, and engineering that it took to actually pull something like this off. And that's what we're here to try to educate everybody on as much as possible, is that we don't necessarily have all the answers, but we definitely have a very good, you know, skill set, you know, especially with the confidence to go in and design something that's relatively, you know, chill, but we're going to take it up a notch.
Yeah.
So
And we
speaking of,
pitched, I mean, we pitched, you know, 6-7 pages. It was for their employee Christmas gifts for all their employees across the world. And we pitched a bunch of different things, some conservative, some basic. You know, Joe did this like black on black chenille with a Letterman's jacket with this logo. That would have been killer.
Yeah.
But to be honest, we were shocked that they picked that, you know, because we wanted it for ourselves, because we knew it would be awesome. People would receive that in the mail and be super stoked, versus, you know, a water bottle. How many more water bottles? You know, they might be like, oh, that's a cool present, I'm glad I got it. But when they receive this in the mail with custom packaging that reflects the design, I mean, what surprise and delight that they're gonna instantly put it on. We got a bunch of images on social media from, you know, promoting their own internal garment, and again, it's something that's gonna be able to be worn for years and years, as long as the Lane 7 vintage wash holds up.
right, exactly. And so like that's why we keep showing this piece, because it's case in point. Your customer doesn't know what they don't know, so educate them, put it in front of them, show that particular piece as, you know, and help sell it. Get in there and be excited about it. Customers can really feel that, you know, well, you know, this is all I can really come up with. I mean, they'll pick up on that so quick, as opposed to showing them a pitch that put your heart and soul into, and then when you get in front of them, you can actually say, hey, this piece I'm really excited about, and I really hope, you know, we can show it. So, which is why, you know, Zoom meetings are so important, because when you show them paper or even digital, and they just kind of flip through a pitch and they see something like this. That's, again, to reiterate why photorealistic mock-ups are so important. They flip through it, and it's kind of like, you know, after you flip through 3 pages of tattoo flash, the remaining 300 are just even if it's some of the coolest artwork you ever saw, you're kind of just not, I don't know.
Yep, that's
not really
like, I love Mom or an Anchor. People are just tired of looking through the books and end up selecting it. And just one thing to add on, this is their corporate branded logo. We didn't really change much, other than the conversation that you want to have with them. Most customer or corporate brand guidelines are designed by an agency that knows nothing of merchandise.
or
So
embroidery or screen print.
embroidery or screen, anything.
Yeah.
And when we have these conversations, we have to let them know that, why are you creating apparel and merchandise?
Right.
And they're like, well, we need some we need something with our logo. But they don't really understand, is like, merchandise needs to be worn. If it's, you have your logo, you have your foundation for your employees and that cohesiveness, but no one is going to wear that outside of work. Your brand
Yep.
will not go into the marketplace because it's a uniform, versus when you're giving someone, again, it's their logo. We just spiced it up a little bit, made it a little vintage. And that is, people are going to wear that in the community. They're going to go to Starbucks. They're going to go work out. They're going to go to parties with friends wearing that garment. And it's not a uniform to them. It's a lifestyle piece that they might have bought in retail, but they got it, as a gift for the company. Yep. And what great branding is that for the company when they choose to wear your logo or design out in the community? So those are the conversations that you want to have. If they're boring and don't want to go out of the box, just take baby steps. It doesn't have to go too far. Just take their logo, same, but then throw it on some felt and just elevate it just a little bit, and you can work towards that, the cool stuff. But you have to start somewhere, and showing them is the first step to getting them to do it.
Absolutely. And Kevin mentioning here that, refresh designed logos are always great. Clients are definitely stuck on only the way the logo is designed. It's true. It's true. It's very true that there's I don't know if it's they hired somebody expensive to do their logo, or their cousin did it or something, who whatever, and they just have this emotional attachment to, this is the way, and if not the only way. And gosh, I really wish that turning people's corporate logos into a workable digitized piece or a workable screen print piece was just like a business. But unfortunately, it's that part of the industry that gets beat up.
People don't want to pay for it, but they'll pay exorbitant amount for someone to design all the
exactly. People are paying thousands and tens of thousands of dollars for a corporate logo package. And we tell them we want, hey, can we get $25 to digitize this? You're like, what? They're appalled, by trying. Let me make this into something that will actually work, for the long run. So it's hard, Kevin, to get them to think outside the box, and that's why you have to be proactive, show them what they're missing, and then that's obviously going to build that rapport, with you and the customer in the long run. So,
I love it. Well, thank you all for sticking around. I think, we weren't planning on going this long. We thought,
it kind of happens.
A few people. So thank you guys for showing up, staying around, and hope you enjoyed it. We're feeling better now that we got our first live out of the way, and we'll see how, whether we do that every week or if we just do that like once a month in between our normal YouTube podcast posts. It just takes a lot to edit it, and this is, we prepped for a couple days, but then me and Joe, we're out here. We can't edit on demand, so hopefully you all enjoyed it.
Yes, exactly. Thanks so much for everything, and we love you guys so much. We're so happy that you're being part of this family here. So we're definitely excited to do this again for sure.
Oh yeah. All right, and everyone enjoy your weekend. Stitch on.
Yeah, stitch on.
Fashion
to the people.
Fashion to the people.
All right, everybody, have a good weekend.
Take care.